I hope you're doing well. It's John, Buck, and Jason. We're back here to just chat more about local church details. And sorry, let me just move this a little bit. There we go. And what we're going to talk about today, we've talked about the local church,
Yep.
how important it is,
Yep.
and then we talked about elders ad nauseum. I think there's several videos, and so
Sure.
what we want to do is move to the next question is, what is a deacon?
Yep.
What's a deacon? What is a deacon?
Absolutely.
And then we're going to try to talk a little bit more about what that is.
Yeah.
So maybe just start there. What's a deacon?
A deacon, I mean, the word means servant, and they are the second officer in the church, the second office, elders and deacons. 1 Timothy 3 obviously gives us the qualifications from verses 8 to 13. And there, just as with overseers or elders, the emphasis is on character as opposed to specific gifting or talents or abilities. The one key difference is the ability to teach. 1 Timothy 3:2 talks about that for elders,
Yeah.
but it's conspicuously absent with deacons. And so there's not much beyond that in the
Yeah.
New Testament, which says basically, which to me means then that the church through the elders sort of kind of flesh out what that would look like. But basically, they are, according to, if you look at Acts 6, where you have like the proto-deacons, like the first deacons of the church, they're serving the church and leading ministries in a variety of ways where it allows the elders to focus on word and prayer.
So it is an office of the church,
It is
and it's equivalent to an elder.
equivalent to an elder, yes.
Okay.
I would say that they don't have the same, they're not exercising oversight over the entire church like an elder is, but they are leading ministries,
Got
yes.
it. Okay, so the leadership, so elders' leadership is sort of related to that whole teaching gift.
Yeah,
teaching
absolutely.
and leadership gift.
Absolutely.
And then a deacon is leading, and leading ministries, but
Yeah.
as an officer of the church, but doing so, in terms of like physical ministries as
Yeah.
opposed to teaching ministries.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
Okay.
I think early on, like in the early church even, they would do, and this is not necessarily in the Bible, but like just in church history,
Yeah.
they would do a lot of mercy ministries,
Yeah.
for example, and things of that nature. I mean, you could say it's more administrative
Yeah.
in one sense, but it doesn't have to be just purely logistics
Right, yeah.
only. It could involve people ministry, obviously, as well. And so if you look at like First Peter 4, it seems to like almost nicely split these two offices in two. Not in a bad way, but just to show like
Yeah.
what does God intend for one as opposed to the other. So you have in verse 10 talking about you get a gift, serve one another as
Yeah.
good stewards of that gift, or the grace that gives you that gift, the grace of God that gives you that gift. You have the speaking gift, first part of 11. And then right after it talks about serving by the strength with which God supplies. And so seems to delineate, well, there's teaching gifts and then there's serving gifts. And I think that nicely lines up with like an elder's emphasis, word and prayer, like teaching, counseling, shepherding, and then a deacon's gift, which is to serve.
Okay.
And everybody's serving, obviously,
Right, yeah.
in one sense.
Yeah.
But specifically, they're not necessarily doing that in like word-based or word-centered ministries.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So deacons are officers and leading according to a set of ministries that are service related.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And an elder is an officer that's leading according to a set of ministries that are teaching related.
Teaching related, yes.
So you could have people in the church that aren't necessarily elders, but who have the gift to teach,
Right.
but aren't necessarily functioning in that role.
Absolutely.
And then a guy could be a gifted servant, but not necessarily be functioning as a deacon, because a deacon is an officer of the church.
Right, 'cause
Unique situation.
Everyone is called to serve. And,
Yeah.
you're going to have teaching situations like in children's ministry. What if we said, it's not like we say only the elders can teach.
Right. Yeah. It would be exhausting. Yeah. Okay, so that's helpful. Okay, so then, is a deacon's not like a stepping stone to becoming an elder. It's an issue of how a guy's gifted.
Yeah, and there's no stepping stones to anything in the Bible.
Okay.
So dangerous,
true,
which
yeah.
is just because there's so much pride in our flesh,
For
you
sure,
know, and
yeah.
looking at it as like, well, if I just get to this, then I'll get to that, and just
Yeah.
that whole like getting to this to that mindset already is a
Yeah.
disqualifier, or is it
For sure.
something that you need to really look at and
Yeah.
check your heart on.
At best, like very, very dangerous.
Yeah, it's a work of the, it's a gift of the Spirit. It's a gift of Christ.
yeah.
It's not something that you work towards.
Yeah.
Like none of these gifts you can manufacture.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't earn them, get them, buy them, get credentialed.
Yeah.
You know, like it's either there or not there.
For sure. So these are like highly valuable, spirit-filled, spirit-gifted men who are serving the Lord, specifically in the local church, but just not in a teaching ministry per se.
Yeah, and that's where we have to be careful not to, either internally or publicly in some sort of like brazen or flamboyant way, like elevate one over the other.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of forms, but because in 1 Timothy 3:8 it says deacons likewise, and then it just goes right into them.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
They are paralleled with each other.
Yeah.
And so there's no like sense of stepping stone. Like it's a demotion, it's a secondary tier of leader, like, well, you're just not good enough to be an elder, so you should be a deacon. And like everybody just kind of gets funneled into the deacon. And that's dangerous. Like I come from, a church tradition where basically every adult at a certain age becomes a deacon.
Yeah.
Male and female.
Yeah.
And then everybody at a certain age who's a male becomes an elder, more or less.
Yeah.
And that just, it's sad because it tarnishes like what the Bible says about deacons and how highly valued they should be.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's super helpful. Thanks, man. So next time we'll talk about what a deacon does, and then we'll just talk a little bit about deacon versus deaconess and the whole male-female role there.
Absolutely. Lots
Sensitive.
of fun.
Yeah. We've got a keg of dynamite back here, so I'm going to give you a match. It's good that we have our local theological genius on hand, Mr. Jason Park. So personally though, like on a real serious note, I'm super thankful for the deacons.
I was just thinking the same thing,
Yeah, they're such a blessing.
They absolutely are. And it's not like we look at them and go, oh, they free us up to do, the real work. No, they're doing real work.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the real work
Totally.
in a sense, but we're really thankful that they are maximizing their gifts for the blessing of the local church. And without them, like, we would all fall apart.
We truly could not function in the ministry.
Absolutely could not.
Oh,
so
praise God.
Very
That's
grateful.
super encouraging.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.